Entrepreneurially Thinking is a presentation of BioSTL and CET, Center for Emerging Technologies, with Rare Gem Productions, changing the way you view new ventures, including you on the pathway to success with your business in the St. Louis marketplace and beyond. Here's your hosts, Cheryl and Christy. Now let's get thinking entrepreneurially.
Welcome to the Entrepreneurially Thinking podcast. Our goal is to energize your entrepreneurial mindset and create pathways for business success in the St. Louis marketplace and beyond. I'm Christy Maxfield, Director of Entrepreneur Development Services at the Center for Emerging Technologies.
And I am Dr. Cheryl Watkins-Moore, the Director for Bioscience and Entrepreneurial Inclusion with BioSTL. Hey, Christy,
Hi.
We're back.
I know, and twice in 1 week.
I know.
That's a big thing for us, folks. We usually record 2 shows at a time. This means 4 shows in 1 week.
Woo.
This happens to be a Friday. I don't know what day you're listening to us, but
so
we
Hollywood.
are just trying to get through the day and bring you some pep before we leave.
Absolutely.
So, as you know, this podcast is all about stepping outside of your comfort zone, and we encourage you to carve out this time, whatever that time might be, whether you're on the treadmill or chilling by the pool, to think about your opportunities and your business goals in new ways. We want to peel away any of the limitations you might have about how you think about small business, working for yourself, or being entrepreneurial right where you are. You can stay connected to the Entrepreneurially Thinking community on all of your favorite streaming platforms. You can connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or by visiting entrepreneuriallythinking.com and following the hashtag ETHINKSTL.
If you are a sports fan or someone interested in building a sports-focused organization, you are in for a treat. We have Tim Hayden and Art Chow, who are both co-founders of Stadia Ventures, a very unique offering in our region. Stadia Ventures is a sports innovation hub for entrepreneurs, industry partners, and investors created to solve the pain points of these distinct voices. According to them, they help entrepreneurs navigate the entrepreneurial path and immediately connect them to their network. They help investors by educating, validating, and driving deal flow directly to the best sports business opportunities available. And they help industry partners by acting as their innovation brokers to maximize deal flow and minimize risks. All of this is accomplished through their Stadia Accelerator and Stadia Academy, aspects of the hub organization that they've created. They've also introduced a couple of new offerings to the mix, Stadia Next and StadiaFirstLook. Oh my gosh, talk about always innovating. These guys are staying on the innovation cutting edge. You don't want to miss this conversation. We'll be right back.
Now here's Make It Happen with Keith Sales Pro.
How do highly successful people think? According to author Tom Black, a boxcar millionaire, here are 5 beliefs. Successful people believe that people are as happy as they want to be. Successful people always are persistent, even in the face of disappointment. Successful people believe you must constantly improve your knowledge and skills. Successful people believe big, even when dealing with small-minded people. And finally, successful people believe you must be truly committed to being of service to others. Today, remember, it can happen. It will happen. And together, we will make it happen.
Follow Keith Sales Pro on Facebook or Twitter at Keith Sales Pro, or visit his website at KeithSalesPro.com.
It can happen. It will happen. And together, we will make it happen.
My name is Tim Hayden. I'm the co-founder of Stadia Ventures. Thinking entrepreneurial to me is just to be different, be completely outside of the box, but be able to still understand that you have to solve a pain in order to actually get something done.
Tim, Ben, and Matt, we are so glad that you could join us today to talk to us about Stadia Ventures, your venture in particular, all the different things you're doing in and around sports entrepreneurship. So we're going to have Tim start off, give us sort of a framework, remind people who you are, what Stadia is. I know It's got all these different parts and moving things going on right now. And then read us into how Matt and Ben fit into all this, and then let them take it from there.
No, that would be tremendous.
Alrighty.
Yeah. So, well, first of all, thank you all for having us on.
Absolutely.
This is tremendous. This is always fun. So I think to start with, so my name is Tim Hayden, and I'm one of the co-founders of Stadia Ventures. So Stadia Ventures is a global sports innovation hub. The whole concept of it is there's so much great entrepreneurial talent out there, and there's so many great people in the industry, in the sports industry. So what we wanted to do was try making a more efficient pipeline of innovation from entrepreneurs entrepreneur to the actual industry side. And then with that being said, the other side of this was we knew quite a few investors that love to invest, but it's always in technology and real estate, construction, bio, health.
Right.
But their passion is sports, but they don't necessarily always see a true return on investment or a path to it when they're in sports. And so our goal was if we could bring together the best entrepreneurs that we could find from all over the world, if we could bring together the best of the industry, and then lay that with investors, there would actually be a very cohesive movement more towards that innovation space. So our first push out of it was a sports business accelerator. And so as many of you know, St. Louis is one of the top 3 cities in the country for accelerators. So we are another niche-oriented accelerator.
Not just another one.
Yeah.
Tim. You are
the only sports
accelerator. Okay,
I appreciate
my
that.
friend.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's really where our focus really lies, is we look for established sports businesses. So those that already have a product or service in market, have traction, and they have hopefully revenue generating, so that they can showcase that when we can introduce them into our network, that we can help move that needle over 12 weeks.
So you're really looking for scale-ups rather than startups.
Exactly. But with that being said, we love talking with entrepreneurs. I mean, we will never turn down a coffee.
Oh, there's no wrong door. And first hour's always free, right? And then after that, pay us in food, and you get a second and third, probably, right?
Exactly. We had a guest here recently, and I said a word, and he said, "Oh, I'm going to use that word on my website." And I said, "Yeah, that's $1,000 for you."
Yeah, branding and marketing, intellectual property. You're welcome.
You're welcome. Right.
Duly noted.
No releases.
Well, why don't you take this opportunity to introduce yourself then?
Yes.
Sure. My name is Ben Conway. I'm the co-founder and COO of Ventana, and we're an augmented reality computing platform. We're based in Los Angeles, California, and what we do is we leverage the power of augmented reality to create engaging experiences that allow CMOs to track and collect data and provide a takeaway for consumers. So I can give you a couple of examples.
Yeah,
So
what's a CMO?
CMO is a chief marketing officer.
Okay.
So they're the ones who spend all the brand's money.
Okay.
And we're the ones who take some of it. And so...
And what would a CMO do in an augmented reality?
Oh, I can give you an example.
I
So
buy Bitcoins.
So we were at the... No Bitcoins.
And she
Nothing
has now
to do-
spent all of her virtual augmented reality cred
That's
right there.
No blockchain technology,
Make it
no
rain.
Bitcoins. So we were at the Super Bowl. Nickelodeon was one of our clients there. We had a few clients there. And what we did is Nickelodeon provided us 3D models of SpongeBob SquarePants and Patrick.
That's
from
terrifying.
SpongeBob.
But, okay.
And so they gave us the 3D models. We animated those in our software and basically provided an experience where you'd walk up to one of our holographic displays. You see yourself as a hologram, which is cool in and of itself. And then you'd see a hologram of SpongeBob SquarePants.
And that's where I get scared.
And you could throw SpongeBob a football. He catches it, does a little dance. You guys do a dance together. Confetti's going on. And then you receive an email that's branded from Nickelodeon that's got a video of that experience that can get shared to social. And
That is so cool.
What's cool is we're tracking data the whole time.
Yes.
So we actually know the age, we know the gender, we know the sentiment of the person there. We're getting name and email address. Then we're listening on social to see where it's shared, where it's posted. And so with that data, CMOs actually know who's on site at location, whether it's retail, sports stadiums, trade shows, conferences, whatever it might be. And now they can even start to link that to third-party data. So if they have other databases online, if they know that I'm Ben Conway, white male, 28 years old, there's not a lot of other Ben Conways around. That's going to be me.
Verify.
So yeah, it's radio. Ruggedly handsome. Single, yes. Ready to mingle.
Oh, there's
going to be out here for the next
Welcome to St. Louis.
next 12
We
weeks.
need a sponsor, and so I think we've just found the way to monetize.
We are not Match.com.
Startup's going pretty well, ladies.
We're going to be
He's doing
augmented,
well.
right?
He's got
Augmented
he has
Match.com.
SpongeBob.
There you
and
go.
I'm just,
But you know what you said, data is king. You know, if you are able to track people's preferences and be able to understand, what they're doing, where they're doing it,
this
people
is a
pay.
big data play
This
as much
is
as it is a
huge.
sports play. Right,
Absolutely.
Tim?
Well,
Yes.
it's been a natural fit because another example with sports is we did the U.S. Open with Roger Federer a few years back for Mercedes-Benz, where you could actually serve Roger Federer, a hologram of Roger Federer, a tennis ball. He serves it back to you. So it allows brands who have endorsements with athletes
Yeah.
to be able to leverage their presence without requiring the athlete on site.
Yep.
And stadiums
That's interesting.
and
That's
franchises
gonna
love it because it's a way to sell more sponsorship. So it's
I
kind of
was
a
gonna
win-win
say-
Change
for everyone.
compensation.
Exactly. That's what I was just
All
thinking
of
of.
stuff.
That would change the compensation model for the athletes.
Well,
then I
even
could
take
be
it one step
everywhere,
further. If you
anywhere.
could share with about Roger Federer with the stopwatch.
Oh, yeah. So when Roger Federer does something for Mercedes-Benz, he's not paid by the hour or by the day. He's paid by the minute. There's someone there with a stopwatch.
Yep.
I aspire.
Who's literally timing Roger to see how much money he's going to make
That's
in the
right.
next
Can you hear the click?
6 minutes.
Can you hear it?
Models.
Click, click, click.
Yeah, we should. How do we do that?
Oh, they're paying us by the decade right now, I think.
Exactly.
Oh, my goodness. Servitude.
So, Matt, tell us about what you're doing.
No, I'd be happy to. So my name is Matt Feinberg. I'm the head of the U.S. market for a company called Picot Buzz. And what we've built is a communications tool that allows sports teams to not only connect with their fans during a game, but also before and after, without having the fans have to do anything extra work like download an app or use any special hashtags. It's real natural where the fans exist. But we took it one step further and decided that once the teams open up communication with fans, they can monetize it by selling them more merchandise, more concessions, tickets for next games, and then we can layer sponsorship on top of it. So we're working with the St. Louis Blues. I should back up. We're an international company and actually started in Israel, but came to St. Louis to launch the company in the U.S. in the Midwest.
So back up. So if I'm at because I got
You didn't get all that?
Yeah. I'm not part of the Snapchat crew, so you got to take this down for me for about 1,000.
Sure.
So if I'm like my family, we went to the what's that thing in
I don't know.
in
What
January,
thing did
the
you go
big
to?
wherever it was. It was in Arizona. It was
Super Bowl?
No, we weren't that lucky. It was. It was.
Were you at a large sporting
It was
event?
a college game.
Okay.
So how does that work? Do I walk in the stadium and is it an app or how does
Or
this
if I'm
work?
at a St. Louis Surge game.
Yeah.
Sure. How's it happen? So the journey, the team experience is actually pretty neat. When you show up, you're really excited that you're at the game. You're going to post a selfie on Instagram. Our software will discover that you posted that and let the team know, hey, some of your fans are here. You should send them a welcome message. And then you get those little messages like, oh, hey, great. It's great to be here. I was recognized as a fan. That feeling of recognition is really powerful.
Or a little creeped out, because I'm going to find a little creepiness in both of you, just to be fair. Okay.
Fair enough.
Like, they know I'm here.
Yep.
Okay.
You in the blue shirt in the third row. Looking good today.
Yeah.
I was happy I got
looking
a
at your
Chick-fil-A
phone
card.
and
So-
pay attention to the game.
Exactly.
But now you're engaged, and we can do a couple really cool things with the fans while they're at the game. If it's a basketball game, you could participate in the little fan poll who you think is going to score the first 3-point shot of the game.
Oh, wow.
And they can layer in a giveaway like an autographed basketball from a player afterwards. And the way you participate is just by using Facebook Messenger. So we built a bot that actually powers this, so you don't have to download an app. You just text and chat the way you would normally on Messenger, and it all happens automatically in the
That's
background.
amazing. And especially for people of not the Snapchat age that, have the ability to purchase tickets, especially for these types of games where they might not be tech savvy. You're coming to them and you're meeting them on their terms, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, we realized 3 things about this. One, you need to figure out a way to engage the fans where they are.
Yes.
Not try and change consumer behavior because we're all lazy and we don't want to do anything different,
Yes.
right?
And I don't want to download another app on my phone, right?
Exactly. And then once you're there, you want to stay engaged. You want to stay connected. So we make it real fun and lightweight to kind of stay in communication with the team. And once that's in place and you started out as a fan and now you're a fanatic, you're going to share your experience. And when your friends say, oh, you were at a Surge game, now I'm thinking, what am I going to do Friday night? Well, a Surge game seems like a pretty cool idea.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So we've got Los Angeles and Israel, and we're all in St. Louis.
Yes.
Who wants to share with us sort of how that love connection happens?
Yes.
Sure. So with Stadia, what we end up doing is twice a year, we'll do a global search for the best startups in the sports space. And what will end up occurring is as much as I say we do a global search, we really don't search. Our friends will tell us about a lot of companies. And so what it allows us to do then is to kind of sift through and be able to narrow the focus. And once we get down to 10, so in this case for the spring class, which is what Pico and what also with what Ventana is part of, is the spring cohort, we came from almost 200 applications from all over the world down to 10. And then the 10 we invited to St. Louis to give a live pitch. But then we also invited in, similar to Shark Tank, judges. But in our case, we ended up with 99 judges from all over the world. So here is the head of football administration for Real Madrid, 2 of the heads of Sony Sport out of Japan. Here is now you're sitting with Major League Baseball Advanced Media, NFL Players Association. And they're all senior leaders that are sitting around helping us to make these decisions on what 5 we're going to choose.
That's what I think is brilliant about Stadia, because Tim is a good friend of ours.
Yes.
We know him from another aspect of the ecosystem.
St. Louis University.
St. Louis University,
Yes.
Absolutely.
And the Entrepreneurship Center.
Absolutely. And this venture is not very old, Tim. How old?
We are a year and a half old, and we're actually entering our 4th cohort. Mm-hmm. We always end up saying our cohorts actually speak more volumes for us than we could ever speak, but within our first year and a half, we've already had our first successful exit. Which actually occurred.
Congratulations.
Yes.
And it actually occurred 3 months after one of our cohort members ended up getting out of our cohort, and it was the very first cohort.
Wow.
We are proud to say that each one of our cohort members have all gotten follow-on funding post-Accelerator side of things. So we're always very excited about how the ecosystem within St. Louis has come to surround this entire thing.
But I think what your offering provides is that holistic support around these companies, because not only are you putting them in an accelerator and extending, more mentoring and opportunities for them to grow, but then afterwards you're connecting them with organizations, sports organizations, through your connections. And I think it's so funny when you and I were talking about the pitching, and I was like, you're getting all these folks to come to St. Louis? That's amazing to be part of the judging. Oh, yeah. So it's almost like I don't want to call it a carnival atmosphere, but
it's
it
a
is.
Circus.
It's
it is a circus. Yes.
It is really amazing.
And the majority of them have never been to St. Louis. I mean,
Well, that
even I hate
doesn't
to say
surprise
this
me.
amongst, yeah.
Yes.
I've
At
never
all.
been.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't think, Ashley and I, Ashley's my co-founder, and we didn't think we were going to be doing any accelerator programs or anything like that. We've raised a decent amount of funding, and we're well on our way. And then we heard about Stadia, and she came out and did the pitch and came back to me and was like, I don't know, are we going to do an accelerator? She's like, no, the people are great. And then, this has been the first week here. And I was just on the phone with our CMO, and I was like, get your ass on a plane to St. Louis. We got some brands to sell out here.
Awesome. Cool.
That's amazing.
We're going to take a real quick break, real quick, and then come back and talk a little bit more about that and a few other things.
Absolutely.
People make resolutions, they make commitments for the year. What are the top resolutions you want us to take on this year?
Practice mindfulness, being in the present moment, because this is where you have power. We what if and scare ourselves into the future. We have no power over the future except to be in the present and make choices and plans. We guilt ourselves into the past. We have no power over the past except to own what we've done, make apologies and amends, and or learn from our mistakes.
It's time to thrive. Be alive and well. Learn more at aliveandwellstl.com.
Hi, I'm Matt Feinberg, the head of the U.S. market for Picot Buzz, and thinking entrepreneurial to me means being proactive and reactive at the same time. You need to think about where you're headed, but understand that the course may change along the way and be ready to change course as quickly as possible. Listen to the feedback you're getting, make smart decisions.
Aside from the people, which obviously are fabulous, what is it about St. Louis that sealed the deal for both of you guys?
I think that for us, we realize, number one, it's kind of an underserved market in technology, I think, in a lot of ways. We're seeing lots of stuff there's a lot of noise on the West Coast and on the East Coast where we do a lot of business and a lot of the brand decisions are made. Coming out to St. Louis, there's a lot of receptive ears to new technologies and new ways of doing things. And frankly, they're just nice. They're nice people. They're nice people.
I'm from New Jersey originally, and it's even rubbed off on me a little bit.
Willing to take a meeting. So we see it as a way to get a great foothold into this market and into the Midwest, and then kind of expand from the center outward instead of the way that a lot of people do, which is from the outside in. So that's kind of why we decided to come here.
Awesome.
Yeah, I would echo his sentiments. So our original U.S. office was in the Philly area, which is where I'm originally from. So good to meet a Jersey girl.
Yeah. Take the girl out of the Jersey, but not the Jersey out of the girl.
And I am a Chicago girl. I am not a St. Louis girl. Okay?
That's all right.
Go Cards.
Whatever.
I had been fortunate to come out to St. Louis one time prior to this event to meet my future father-in-law.
There you go.
Who lives in the area, so we got family. So there was already a pretty good reason to come out. But what we found as a company was that being in the center of the country and being in such an exploding startup scene, having a day's drive access to 19 major markets for us just made a lot of sense from a logistics standpoint. We can get a lot of coverage from an area where there's a lot of good energy right now. So.
Wow, that's amazing.
I had no idea we were a day's drive from 19 major markets.
Well, if you stay up for 24 hours, there's a lot of places you can get.
And how fast you drive.
There is, and that's a whole nother show. I like it. We're just teeing up the next conversation. I'm not as young as he is. We could split the shift because we talked earlier about how
Yeah.
You're texting me while I'm going to bed.
She goes to bed at 10 o'clock. I start working at 10 o'clock.
The day is started.
We can cover 24 hours, just not continuously.
Right. Exactly.
Oh my
Exactly.
I would imagine, too, that money goes a bit further here than it does on the coast.
It does. I think what we found, so our company was originally founded in Tel Aviv, Israel, and it's not the cheapest place in the world to live. Or that coast. Yeah, the coast all the way half around the world. But when we had originally kind of brought the company to the U.S., Philadelphia is a bit more of an expensive city. Not quite on the same level as San Francisco and New York, but coming to St. Louis, we saw that our dollars could go a lot further.
Yeah.
And just the general reception we received here, it's a lot easier to get introductions to kind of grow the market than it is to pay to get there. So
Absolutely.
It works out really well. People are very friendly in that sense.
So this is your first week?
Yeah.
Wow. So what have you learned?
So they've already experienced St. Louis weather, which means they've
and
had 4
Christy
seasons.
and Cheryl in your first week.
Please stay.
I think one of the best things I've heard since we've been here is that if you don't like the weather in St. Louis, just wait a minute.
Exactly. That's it. That's it.
Totally. Absolutely.
So Tim, tell us, I mean, you guys started with Stadia. Now, Stadia has so many different brands and portfolios. Tell us about that. You have the Accelerator, you have the Academy, you have a new offering, Stadia Next. Tell us about it.
So we are always in startup mode, even though we're only a year and a half old. So I guess to start with is when we launched Stadia Ventures, a lot of it, the focus was around an academy program, which was how do we teach retired athletes how to be better investors? Because at the end of the day,
I remember that conversation well.
80% of most of these NFL athletes are going to be bankrupt within 5 years of retiring. Now, we ended up putting that on hold because the Accelerator took more traction more quickly than we even expected, so we put all of our effort in that. But what we also ended up discovering is immediately after our first cohort, we realized that there are companies coming out of these that they still need help, but they're post-Accelerator. So it's not like, they need to come through an intensive 12-week program. So we created a Stadia Next program, which is one where we could be able to put our arms around these companies, kind of around their shoulder, if you will, be able to support them with maybe some senior leadership assistance, maybe even help in office space. So what we have had is we have had several companies now moving to St. Louis, kind of moving their operational side of things so that they can be part of this whole network. And it goes back to our hub mentality. Everything we do is we do not have to own everything, but it's just pulling good people together that need to know each other. And so as this cohort, the spring cohort comes through, they're going to be meeting previous cohort alums. They're also going to be meeting Stadia Next companies. And even as an example, the company that was acquired out of our first cohort, it was through an introduction by one of our Stadia Next companies. And it was only a client engagement. And then it turns out the owner of that potential client loved the company so much they're like, let's buy it.
Let's buy it.
So it's this whole network approach. And this is, a St. Louis kind of tradition anyway. All we've done is we've really been hyper-focused on sports.
It's the collaborative effect from the ecosystem that now is really volleyed into the Stadia Ventures, which I think is great. So and
actually, if I could add one more thing to that, even with Picot Buzz. So at this moment, Picot is not only in the Stadia Accelerator, but also in the Capital Innovators Accelerator.
Wow.
So
we
in
love
a way,
that.
Great.
It's a collaboration amongst all these different accelerators.
Exactly.
We're all friends. And
right.
So it's the opportunity to bring great and hopefully retain great talent.
Absolutely. So in the 12 weeks, what are they going to be exposed to?
So actually, if I could ask them as well, so yesterday and today, what were some of the things that were kind of going on?
Here's your test.
No, I was going to say one of the highlights was yesterday. So we've been working for a while to break into Major League Baseball. And within the first 3 hours of the program yesterday, we already had an in-depth conversation with a high-up marketing official with the Cardinals. And he's ready to make introductions inside the organization to see what we can do this season.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Just the velocity of the introductions here is really cool. I'm really excited about that.
Before or after the Cubs game?
This is before the Cubs game yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, really, if you came with an affiliation to anything other than a Cardinal, please leave it at the border.
That's amazing.
And Ben, on your side?
Yeah, I think it's kind of the same thing around not just the business development, because today our meeting with some of the mentors, they're sitting in the seats of the people I'm trying to sell. So they're potential clients, and they also have the mindset of all of our other potential clients and can make those introductions. So that's fantastic. But the other thing is we're starting to get into a space where we're growing really fast. We need some more senior leadership guidance. We're not we're in, I wouldn't say we're really in startup mode. So it's great because I've got the CMO of Alamo National Cars, was senior vice president of marketing for United, advising us on marketing. We've got the former CIO of a $9.1 billion cable company who's sitting there for 3 hours, and we're picking his brain and going back and forth on ideas. So it's the quality of the people and the advice that's given. It's unparalleled. And usually, I mean, in LA, no one was given something for nothing.
Right.
So everyone else who's trying to give you that advice is like, here, give me an extra advisory percentage, do this, do that. But with Stadia, there's a very comfortable feeling, and you feel very free to share information. You're learning things from other companies. You're learning things from these mentors. So that's been great.
And that really is St. Louis.
I was going to say, that's the ecosystem. I think that's what you guys are seeing is like Tim said, I mean, even the Accelerator programs are very collaborative. I was a mentor with CAP Innovators. So, it's a very much collaborative environment.
And we always tell our entrepreneurs that the
companies.
network is a hugely important piece. So when we're particularly talking about getting more women and underrepresented minorities involved, closing the network gap is almost as important as closing all the other gaps. So we're really glad that you guys are finding that network
We'll be sending the Ventana ladies out shortly. We got
Wonderful.
Ashley and Natasha out here.
Great. We'll make sure they get acclimated. No worries.
Absolutely.
So since you guys really are scale-ups, not startups at this point, can you reflect back a little bit on your startup days and just give us some thoughts on what those biggest challenges
Ben,
are?
you're looking like that face.
I have so many stories.
And this would be the time to tell them because no one's listening. It's just between us.
It's just us, right?
It's fun to think back where we started and to see how by listening to the market we evolved. So Picot Buzz originally started out as a consumer app that found all of your photos from your wedding or your party.
Thank you for sharing that.
Really?
When we say pivot, people kind of look at us like this and look at us like that. And that's a pivot, people.
That's a pivot.
Now, did you all buy your technology out of Israel, or someone from your company was actually there and developing the technology?
So the three original co-founders developed this technology in Israel, brought it to the U.S. as part of a different accelerator program, and that's where I met this team. We got together realizing that they needed to continue to run full speed in Europe to work with a couple of our companies and teams over there, but we didn't want to miss the U.S. opportunity. And it was in the conversations with the basketball and soccer teams in Israel, with Sport 1 in Germany, that we realized that the technology that powered that little consumer app, it didn't need to be used for a wedding venue. It could be used for an arena or a sports stadium. And that little light bulb going off is when that pivot happened.
That's understanding the need and
Thank
the
you for sharing
opportunity
that.
is what we always talk about with entrepreneurs. So that's a really great story to tell.
We started out live streaming concerts to nightclubs.
Really?
So,
There we go.
On projection
And now
screens.
you're on
Well, not even, actually, we didn't even do
SpongeBob
that at
throwing
first.
a basketball with me.
Yeah, so Ashley and I saw Coachella sell out, and people were watching it on their laptops, and so we're like, well, wouldn't it be a lot more fun if there was a bar and a dance floor and a light show? And so we just wanted to throw a good party remotely, and then we wanted to make the artists wanted that more authentic, and so we said, how about holograms? And we used a competitor's technology, and it was a total nightmare, so we started figuring out how to build our own. And we tried to work in music, and I don't know if you've worked in music, but I don't recommend it.
There's some challenges.
So we started, but the brands were willing to pay. So we started working with brands, and then we didn't want to just do pre-recorded, so we started doing interactive. And so it's gone from, we've done like hologram DJ concerts, to now we're at the Dodgers, the Padres, the Angels, working with Lexus, doing all their VIP areas and doing all sorts of interactive.
Because I remember when people were trying to do the holograms with the deceased singers.
Oh, that's always fun.
And
I've heard so many. It's so morbid. It's so morbid.
Between that and some of the CGI that I've experienced recently, I'm just not sure about all this mixed and reality stuff.
So I can imagine that's a real interesting pivot, though. How you
it's changed a few times, and it's the same thing. It's been, where's the money? Where's the dollars? How are we following that?
And that's the other thing we tell people, figuring out the value proposition, and not only who wants and needs, but who's going to pay.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the conversation I have almost on
That's the
a daily
first
basis.
question, right.
Who's going to pay?
paying
Well,
for
these
it?
people need it, and yes, will they pay?
Right. Contracts and compliments, they're not the same thing.
They are not the same thing. And cash.
Oh, my God.
Contracts, compliments, and cash.
Yeah.
Very different things.
So, Tim, I just read in the Business Journal that you guys just made investments in 3 new companies. Can you tell us about
Sure. And actually, we need to bump it 5 altogether. Yep. So 4 plus a 1, we always end up saying. So we have Ventana, out of LA. Now, obviously, you've been hearing that from Ben. We have Picot Buzz out of Israel and out of Philly, when you've been hearing from Matt. We also have Really. Really is out of California as well. It is artificial intelligence tied to highlight reels. So imagine, and you don't need to imagine, you can do it, your kids at a youth game, all the video that you are pulling from that game, you can upload into their system, and it will automatically generate highlight reels equivalent to ESPN.
Wow.
And yet, no human interaction. It's all artificial intelligence driven.
Wow.
There's one of our other groups is...
I think the tagline should be start your child's digital footprint early.
That's exactly what it is. It really is. And it's for scouting, so many different angles to go.
Wait a minute. You don't know. Oh, you do know a little bit about sports. Because I was like...
I know a little bit about a lot of things. Yes. That's my secret sauce. Just enough to be dangerous.
So we also have Cato, also out of California side of things. Cato is out of a children's education platform, but in reality it turned into a sports kind of platform. That what they allow you to do is, in essence, how do you better train your mind and your eyes to be able to identify pitches and things like that? So it's using real world video. So if you're going up against Adam Wainwright, well, the pitches are coming so quickly anyway. How do you identify if it's a curveball? How do you identify if you should lay off of it? And so they've been doing a tremendous job in that space. And again, with each of these companies, they all have clients. So this isn't like a pipe dream kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the last one is RC21X out of Pittsburgh. It is the Fitbit for your brain. And so it is two gentlemen that got together with Gus Farrat. Gus was a NFL football player for 15 years, I believe, 8 years with the St. Louis Rams as our quarterback. And so their whole idea was you have concussions on one side, you have brain health on another side. So you have all these different devices that will measure your body, steps and heart rate and everything, but nothing is truly looking at your brain. And how do you actually identify? So on the sports side, it's really not just about concussions, it's also about, hey, my child has ADD. How do I put a baseline to how well they're performing right now? And then how do I evaluate that over time based off of things that you're doing with that environment?
That's amazing.
So they've actually been involved with the NFL. And then yesterday they ended up starting onboarding Novus Care, which is 2,000 different physical therapy clinics around the country.
Wow.
Cool. Well, our time together always goes so very quickly.
It's always so fast. Yes.
So on that note, Tim, tell us where folks who are interested in sending you your leads for your next cohort can make those referrals.
No, that'd be great. If they come to StadiaVentures.com, or if they're just running around CIC over at 4240, we'll either run into them over at Venture Cafe or in the hallways. But please do, feel free. And even if they're not at stage of an accelerator, we still want to get them on our radar and see where we can help them.
Great.
That's great.
And Ben and Matt, tell us where we can find you all.
We're on Ventana.com. That's V as in Victor, N as in Nancy, TANA.
And we are at Picot.Buzz, PICO.BUZZ.
Awesome. Well, now we've got lots of things to Google, learn more about, explore.
And lots of things to keep up with. We've got to have you guys back to just understand what happens maybe after the graduation and what's next.
And you're all invited. Demo day, June 22nd.
Woo.
Awesome.
And I know you have good food. So, Chrissy and I are always on the food trail.
We evaluate first the viability of the business model, and secondly, what kind of food is available. You now understand the hierarchy.
Keep the priorities straight.
There you go.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much, guys,
for joining us today. And we really appreciate you being here.
Thank you all very much. We appreciate it.
Changing the way you view new ventures, igniting your thinking about entrepreneurship. It's entrepreneurially thinking. Get connected and discover more. Visit our website for show notes, resources, information about our guests, upcoming events, and of course, all your favorite episodes. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them for us in the comment sections, and be sure to leave us a 5-star rating on iTunes. The best way to show love is to share. Let everybody know that you're thinking entrepreneurially. So visit our website, entrepreneuriallythinking.com. #ETHINKSTL. Entrepreneurially Thinking is another positive production of Rare Gem Productions. Thanks for listening.